squirrels, I mean like the 2 or 3 people that are watching this. I thank you very much for keeping me alive. Well, keeping this channel alive. It is a brand new channel, by the way, so I guess it doesn't really make sense. Anyways, you are here to see what I have done to my steering system on my kayak. Yep, it's very, very innovative. Yeah, I like that word. Because it's actually, it's just crazy, you know. It's just something I came up with after my dad made a suggestion on a steering system he thought would be decent, and it definitely would, but it wasn't crazy enough for me, you know what I mean. He wanted to use an electric motor powering a worm gear, and that would be pretty good, but I started to look into that system and it was pretty expensive. I compared it to the pneumatic system that I just came up with, and it was a night and day difference. So anyways, I think I spent like $16 each cylinder, and then $30 or so on the whole hose and fitting kit needed for that. And then the scope rings were very cheap. I got a couple of them for like $11, and all this is Canadian currency, by the way. And yeah, I mean, it was very cheap. It was under $100 for all this stuff to create a good steering system. And I mean, it's good. It's smooth. It's pretty precise. And let's just face it, it looks pretty damn cool sitting on the side of my kayak. Like, I got some futuristic stuff going on here with a flux capacitor and everything. Man. Anyways, back to what we're talking about. Squirrel! So let's talk about how this test went. Okay, took it out on the water. I was pretty nervous, to be honest, because I have never tested this in the water. I thought maybe the extra pressure against it, the extra force against the steering system was just going to render it useless. It's not going to have enough power. That wasn't the case. I found out right away that it had plenty enough power when my trolling motor was at full blast, and I was happy with it. Somewhat. The issue I started out with was the height of the trolling motor. I set it up completely wrong. So I pulled it off to the side on some rocks, adjusted it real quick, but then doing so knocked out the angle of my cylinder. It wasn't a big deal, but I think it added a little extra force to the whole system. Anyways, after adjusting the height, I went out on my merry way, and I was happy with it. Other than I lost quite a bit of steering. I think it was to the right. It was a significant difference where I had full left turn but barely any right turn, and when I wanted to go straight, I had my my steering lever way to the left or to the right, whatever it ended up being. It wasn't good. I thought, man, what's gonna happen now? I'm gonna have to go back to shore and change where the clamp was situated on the Minn Kota trolling motor. But I just sat there for a little bit trolling. Yeah, I was trolling for some muskie. I was like, I'm out here. It's muskie season, Lake St. Clair. I might as well throw a rod in with a bulldog, and who knows, I might get lucky while I'm testing out my new steering system. And no, didn't get lucky, but I got lucky in regards to the steering system. It worked great, and I got lucky because I figured out that if I just disconnect the hoses while I'm making sure I'm tracking straight with the trolling motor, disconnect the hoses and reset my lever to dead center, and then reconnect the hoses, that just completely solved the problem. Like, bam, now I have full left and right steering. Everything was nice and smooth, and I was so happy I discovered that. Like, man, the adjustment on the fly is awesome. That is just such a huge advantage. I mean, you're probably thinking, well, cable's cable, you know, you're not gonna, your length of the cable's not gonna change when you're using cable drive, or cable steering, I should say. And you're right, it's not. I'm not saying my system is better by any means. well, by the only means that it was cheaper. I looked up the cable system and it was like, I think it was 130, 140, depending on what it was, and then up. So I already saved some money there, and like I said, I gained on the cool aspect of it. Yeah, everybody's got, foot pedal steering, or even the integrated newer kayaks have the steering, so you can keep your legs free while you're usually pedaling. That's why they would have that system specifically for that reason. As far as I know, at least. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, it's not better by any means. Okay, sorry. It's better by some means, and I already explained that to you. Anyways, let's just keep going, okay? You can tell how hard this is for me. ADHD, baby. It's awesome in some ways, but it's annoying in others. Let me tell you that. Anyways, hopefully you guys don't care too much. If you do, I will put up a poll and see how many of you guys want me to edit out all the ADHD BS, all the squirrel stuff, and just keep it straight to the point. I'm just trying to keep it, light, amusing, make you guys laugh, because I laugh at myself sometimes. So anyways, yeah, steering system worked great. Adjustments on the fly worked great. I was also at the time testing my trolling motor, because this was the first time I had it out actually on water. I had it set up on my kayak sitting in the garage for a while, but until I actually brought it out on the water, I had no idea how it performed. I picked it up off the side of the road. Down my road, someone was throwing it out, believe it or not, laying against their garbage can at the road before garbage day. I said, hell no, scooping that baby up. It had the mount and everything, adjustable up and down. It was awesome. If I didn't use the motor itself, I would at least use that bracket or that mount and for something. So I brought it home and hooked it up to 12 volts. Nothing. I didn't hear anything. I thought that was weird. Maybe there's something wrong with the brushes in the motor. So anyways, took it all apart. It looked pretty clean inside. Like, this thing was like brand new. Grease was clean. I was happy with it. Slapped it all back together. Tried it again just to see if I did something by accident, and no, it was still not working. So I thought, well, maybe it was the gear or speed selector in the handle of the Minn Kota. I heard that's a big problem. They go out, and it's a cheap fix. Ordered one on Amazon, $14 and something cents, and got it the next day. Put it in, and still nothing. No. So I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Do I have power to the motor or what? So I disconnected the wires, and I just put the red and black, positive and negative, on a battery, and full power. So I'm like, okay, the motor works. There's nothing wrong with that. There's something wrong with the whole arm system. I'm like, well, whatever. I wanted to use a PWM anyways. So order one on Amazon, and boom, hooked it up. Everything was mint. Got it connected to a brand new 50 amp battery and lithium battery. Man, this system was so nice on the water. Let me tell you, it didn't even get warm. So I'm thinking about putting a new propeller on and trying to get some more speed out of it. It was decent speed, gets you where you're going at a decent rate. But if I can get more power or more speed and get to my spot quicker, I'm gonna do that. Or if I want to avoid a storm coming in that I wasn't expecting, I want to get back on shore quick as possible. So technically, 2 systems in a day, and it worked great. I was happy with everything, man. So I packed it up because, as you can see in the video, it was starting to get a little choppy for my liking. I'm not as experienced as most kayak anglers out there that have been on, let's say, the ocean and dealt with some decent waves. So, I'm overly cautious sometimes, especially when it comes to my life, and safety and whatnot. So I'm like, all right, I think it's time to go in. So the reason why all of a sudden it went from decent waters to choppy was because of a major wind change. It completely changed from south to, I think it was west, northwest. So it was a significant difference because I was on the south side of the lake. So if you didn't know, if you're on the south side of the lake and you get south winds, there's like little to no waves at all, depending on how close you are to the shore. But if you are the opposite, let's say you're on the south side and you got north winds, that's the worst possible scenario because it has all that time across the lake to accumulate and build these waves bigger and bigger. Whereas the other way, it doesn't have a chance until you get way out into the lake, which I don't really ever do yet. That comes with practice and that comes with confidence. After I decided to go back to shore and call it quits, I wanted to quit while I was ahead and not sink the damn kayak and all my hard work with it. Packed it up, went home, and cleaned out the boat, and everything was good. I was happy. I learned some things and made me pretty excited for the next outing. I tell you that. I haven't gotten out since, and it is now winter time, so I am ice fishing. And I'm working on a video currently for you guys and for myself because I like looking at it, and maybe I'll share it with my kids when they're older. Well, I know my daughter, she always wants to watch me and she thinks it's funny and she laughs at me. Anyways, here we are. We're talking about this. We're talking about So let's talk about the cons and pros and cons. I like to start with the cons because it allows me to end on a good note with the pros. So first con, I got hoses running along the side of my kayak. It could potentially be a hook risk. It could potentially cause problems with hooks, constantly getting tangled in them. It might not be as bad as I think, and if that's the case, then I will create some sort of channel to just cover it, silicone it onto my kayak, cover those exposed hoses. But for now, I like the way they kind of look. They just add to the crazy system, Con number 2. There is the risk of puncturing the hose or snapping off one of the fittings on the cylinder. It's highly unlikely it's going to happen, but it is possible. So I can't rely on this steering system to just do all the work for me. If this happens and I lose steering, I will have to bring my motor straight and just lock that set screw on the shaft for the trolling motor just to keep it from turning. And then use my feet or my paddle to turn left or right, the typical stuff. Not a big deal. But I feel like I haven't seen this, but I haven't also researched it. The pedal steering systems, maybe the cables wear off on some of the edges that they rub on or whatever. They rot out. Who knows? And then they break over time. I'm sure they do. Like, it happens, right? It's got to happen. Unless they're made out of steel, but even then, whatever. They get rusty unless you're using stainless steel and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm not getting into it, guys. Come on. Let me know if you've had experiences with your pedal or your foot steering snapping. Or even let me know about your hand steering. If you had struggles with that, maybe the handle just snapped right off or who knows. So I think those are the only cons that I have so far. I'm sure more are going to come up the more I use it. But if you guys think of any, let me know. Then maybe I can prevent it before it happens, right? Because once we think, we might be able to think of something that we didn't notice when we were using it or when we were building it. So that's always good. Let's think. Use that brain of yours. Now for the positives. Let's start with the most obvious one. It is bad ASS looking, man. So slick. Okay, I love the shiny bits. I love the motion, the pivot points, all this stuff. It just looks cool to me. I don't know, some guys might look at it and laugh, but some guys look at a bass boat and laugh that it's all sparkly and stuff. Like, whatever, man. It's whatever you like. It's whatever you like. That's what matters at the end of the day. Do you look at it and say, man, this thing's cool? Or do you look at it and say, oh, I hope people think it's cool. I don't really think it's nice looking, but I know other people do. Come on, man. It's not about that. It's about what you care about deep down inside. Pro number 2, cost. It's very cost effective. Yeah, it might be a little difficult to install, but I mean, that's because there's no system like it out yet. Imagine there was off the shelf system. You just be like, okay, I need 8 rivets and yeah, that's it. It comes with everything else. Just drill a couple holes, or 8 holes, I guess you could say, in my kayak and go at it. You know, easy peasy lemon squeezy. But it's not like that. If you want to build it yourself, you got to go through all the little steps, and it took me a while to make it, by the way, because there was trial and error. You know, sometimes I didn't shave off enough material on one pivot point, so it was binding or what have you. You know, something didn't work all the time, and I would always have to think, okay, why didn't it work? What will work now? Until all those problems got solved, all those little bugs, you know, which is always like, it's like anything, you know. That's what research and development is. Okay, spend some time before you release the actual product, so that when you do release it, everything goes nice and smooth and the consumer loves it. Not like I'm going to sell this thing, but hey, I'm not going to object to some company, you know, like I don't know, like a company that sounds like Kobe, or like, you know, Filderness, or like whatever. Guys, come on. That'd be cool. I can quit my job. That'd be nice. Yeah. Just sell one product and make millions. Hey, just keep dreaming. Okay? Maybe one day we'll wake up and it'll be true. But until then, let's just start with the third pro, which is what? Reliability. I'd say it's pretty reliable. Again, I haven't had that much experience with it, but in my head, you know, I've dealt with pneumatics before, and I rarely have had failures, and I mean rarely, on systems that have been running 24/7, you know, pushing, pulling that cylinder or that piston inside the cylinder, and yeah, haven't seen hoses blow or fittings just snap off on their own or whatever. Okay, it would usually just be a wearable point on the cylinder where the shaft rubs, and then, you know, the shaft on the piston gets rough, but it's after tens of thousands of strokes. Like, it's reliable to me. If you want it to be really reliable, then you could spend some real money and buy some expensive pneumatic equipment. But like I said, my stuff was cheap, and I wanted to keep it that way. I wanted to see, can I make it work with cheap stuff? And I did. So I'm happy with that. Saved some money, learned a lot, and that's like what I said. This channel is all about learning, having fun, getting out there, and just enjoying life, man. Because we have one life, okay? Don't be working all the time, and no, spend your time with your family, spend your time doing something you love, okay? It's really good for your body, it's really good for your soul, your mental health. Because a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but you know, men have some issues sometimes with mental health, and it's serious. We don't want to talk about it because there's this stigma behind it. You know, oh, you gotta keep it. You gotta be a man. You know, blah blah blah. Yeah, well, those are the people that end up cracking real bad. Ask me how I know. And end up going through some tough times. But just remember, you're not alone. Stick in there. All right. So anyways, I hope you really enjoyed this video or learned something from it. And yeah, there should be more to come on systems that I do. And just times that I go out. It'll be mostly times that I go out, because I'm not just inventing all the time. I'm not creating all the time. I do it, you know, quite often, and I would love to share it with you guys when I do it. But most of these videos are going to be, I think, me getting out there, having fun with my family, and doing the things that I love doing. Any type of fishing. I love fly fishing. I love ice fishing. My wife doesn't understand why I do, but like, I can't explain it, man. It's just there's something about it. I get all excited when I see the lake get frozen. And it's just like,
William Knife Man.
You know that Indian guy who does that thing. Yeah. So, anyways, this is my first real video. I don't really count my shorts as real videos. They're just kind of something quick you whip up. You don't really put too much time into, and you hope you get a couple thousand views. So this video I'm actually going to put some time into, put some work into, and I really hope I didn't just spend 24 minutes talking and redoing takes and all that stuff for nothing, because the audio ends up being garbage. I'm tired. I'm gonna go hang out with the wife on the couch. It's getting late, and yeah, I will start editing this maybe when she goes to bed. We'll see. Thanks a lot, guys. Peace. Camera off. Stop recording.